You're listening to This British Life podcast, conversations with interesting people.
Welcome to the show, and thank you to our drink sponsors, Alt Water. Lovely bottles. Charles, you got your bottle today. You enjoying it?
It's delicious.
600 mils. It's right size, not too big, not too small.
Nope.
And without jest, I used to use these bottles before I was drinking them because the reusable bottles would always be too big or too small. So I had one that was like 600-700 mils. I put it in my bag, but it always tip out. And when I saw these, and they feel nice.
Yeah, they're nice.
People hold and go,
they're nice, and they're
nice.
good size as well, aren't they?
It's 600 ml, which is good.
Yes, but that's the perfect. Not the 500, not the 7. That's perfect, and it's got the wide open mouth as well. So I use this when I go to the gym without sipping out. It looks like a straw.
Oh, it's good. It's made me rethink water.
Yeah, fantastic. So there we go.
Winning
Thank you
all
to
round.
Alt Water. What were we just talking about for the show? What did we get up to?
Carry on films.
Carry on films.
Oh, that was it. So we started talking about Steve Martin, the actor, and he had his little bout of depression thing. And there was a British journalist. Something happened. It's in his book. He was over here. There was a British journalist. It was like one of these Channel 4 late night.
Oh, you're making me think of
jokey.
You now. But that's another thing.
It was like one of these Mickey taking journalists. He'd do like little skits. He'd go and talk to annoy a celebrity who didn't know who he was. You know.
Oh, like Dennis Pennis.
Yeah, I think it might have actually been him. Just somebody that would go and say, hi, can I enter? Then he'd say something stupid, you know, and they go, oh, get lost. Anyway, this guy, this journalist, said something to him. I think he said, hey, Steve, and he came over at a premiere and he went, when are you going to start being funny? Right, and he said that went into the book.
I think that was Dennis Pennis.
Stuck with him.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he started to sort of second guess himself because of that.
It's mental, isn't it?
And he said he was starting to think that people weren't telling him he wasn't funny because he used to be a stand-up. So he said he used to, when he was doing the stand-up again, he said he went through like a little bit of a mental phase. He said, I would do the stand-up and I would say jokes with a punchline was wrong and people would still laugh.
Oh dear.
And he realised, it's because I'm Steve Martin. Like I'll say
so
her.
has it spiralled from that comment then? That
it was just that, but I think it went not the whole career, but just him being because he was so famous in the 80s.
Yeah, but people go through phases, don't they? Sometimes they're in the spotlight for a whole decade and then they go quiet, and then they come back again.
Yeah,
so.
but I think he just.
But sometimes people can have a half decent career as well. Sometimes they go into the mainstream for a bit because sometimes you think like. I know, recording artists or whatever, a band, and you think, they haven't released anything since whatever, 2000. And then you look and they go, no, actually they've been
I've got six albums, just different genre or something.
But and they've been ticking along, they've been selling, and they have a big fan base, but it's just not peaking into that mainstream anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that it's probably to do with age, isn't it? There's a new band to spend all the money on. Once you get over 30, 35, forget it. There's always going to be a new person.
Yeah, there's also like a bit of a commercial tick box, isn't there, where a lot of artists feel like they're going against the grain, doing things that are working for the commercial audience rather than what they really want to do.
For teenagers. So once you get that certain age, there's always a new band that will replace you. And I'm assuming they'd get more money and things when you're more mature, where they can get a load of new kids and be working for nothing. Whereas when you're older, now you want production money and you want to be cutting on the thing where you go, it's just easier just to go back to appeal to 14-year-olds with a group of 16, 17-year-olds because they're cheaper.
I'm going to squeeze this anecdote in because I read Steve Martin's autobiography.
Did you? Okay.
What was the name of it? Is it something quirky? Being Steve.
Being Steve.
And now I'm funny or something. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, bless him. He's still talking about that.
I'm back.
Yeah, and the one takeaway that he used to do this bit. I was thinking because people laughing at anything he says. He did a bit where he was reading from the phone book.
Oh right, yeah.
He's like, people say I'm so funny, I can just read from the phone book. And I think it was on the Johnny Carson show, so Late Show, whatever. And so he got the phone book out and started reading it for Anthony Arbuckle, 07, 0118, and like Acorn Drive, and he just started reading it, and it was hilarious. It was very funny. But my one takeaway from that book was he said that one day he smoked a bit of weed, and he went to the cinema. And he said that he had the worst panic attack of his life. And he said that after that, he just couldn't go to the cinema again for like decades. And he said he tried to, so about 10, 15 years later, he tried to go get a couple times. And then every time he did, he said he was just had this huge anxiety attack and he was just like in tears and he had to like run out. It's like PTSD. And like he said, it even went so bad he couldn't watch films for a while because it just reminded him of being in the cinema. And I was like, God damn it, man. Put yourself
just don't
again.
smoke the weed.
Yeah, maybe don't smoke the weed.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried going to cinema not high?
I think he didn't stop.
Oh, right.
But he just didn't go to the cinema.
What was the last film he's been in, Steve Martin? Can you remember? Is it just 9? He must have made some. Nothing. I've got nothing.
Didn't they have like a remake? No, like Father of the Bride Part something.
Don't know. I just
came back like years later. And
he was doing Disney crap, wasn't he? Like Parents Club.
Who was the guy that did oh God, what was it? The one that faked his death. He used to do wrestling and he used to take the mick out of people in the southern states. The comedian Jim Carrey played.
I was going to say what, Tupac?
No, Jim Carrey played him. Played his
Andy Kaufman. Yeah.
Andy Kaufman is so he was.
I need to see this film. I haven't
he was quite out there. But yeah, he used to have a stage. He used to be a stand-up comedian, and he'd like annoy the punters. So he'd be reading. What would he be reading? Like
I think he read Shakespeare, didn't he?
It wasn't Shakespeare. It was something. He's like read Shakespeare, and people would be going boo, and he's got a record player there, and he's going no, and he just shut up, and he'd be reading it and go, oh, do you want me to do this, or do you want me to play the record? And people going play the record. And he's like, no, I'm going to read. And carry on, and they go, well, would you want me to play this? Yeah, play the record. He put the record on, and it's him saying the book.
And he would just do it. He'd do it until everyone left. Yeah, that was his thing.
Yeah,
try and alienate everyone.
That sounds so random. When was he? When was he?
Oh God, that was 18.
I used to watch wrestling. But
No, he wasn't. Well,
he wasn't a proper wrestler. He just used to pay ladies to wrestle him in their underwear.
It was one of those times where people still didn't know about wrestling properly.
So was it before?
And it was like, was it fake?
90s, 80s,
70s,
70s, 80s, yeah. But it was when they just had territories and it wasn't like a mainstream thing.
Oh, okay.
And he would go to the local TV stations and start abusing the people in that area. He'd go to the
random as anything.
Because he was from California. He'd go there and say like, you bloody morons. He said, working out in the field, he said, I'm from Hollywood. I'm here to show you. And he used to say, like, I can beat any woman that wants to wrestle me. And he'd go to the southern states like Alabama and he'd go, here, look. And he'd be on TV, their local stations. And he'd say, look, I've got some soap. I'm going to tell you how to use it.
Yeah. Well,
what you do is you put it on water and you rub it with it. He said, now remember, you have to use water.
You bunch of hicks, your town smells like manure.
And listen to me, I'm from Hollywood. And then he'd get there and people be going mental.
But he's the heel. He's the heel. That's what the heel does. You know, you got the baby face and the heel. The heel comes out.
It was with the guy who was a wrestler and loved in those towns. And he smacked him in the face on, what was it on? Dave Letterman.
Carlson, I think probably.
No, I think it was Dave. No, it was Dave Letterman. Oh, I remember. Yeah, but he had a little thing going with the rest. That was in him. Like Jim Carrey played him in a film.
Letterman took over from Carlson.
No, it was definitely Letterman because I just saw it. Right. But his whole thing was like playing with reality. So people even that knew him didn't know if he was joking.
Oh no!
And one time he faked his death. And he said he was sick.
How long did he keep that up?
Oh, it was about 20 years. And
he faked his death for 20
years?
No.
But he was constantly doing things like that all the time.
The whole thing was performance art.
Yeah.
It was beyond, it was a step beyond. Yeah. Just like, hey.
Blurring the lines of what's real.
Because he's doing it in reality and people that knew him didn't know. Like he would go to a restaurant and he'd start an argument with somebody. And then it would, like a woman, he'd go, she's annoying me, but he'll be doing it for an hour. And then he'll get up and say something to her. And then she'll say something back. And then he'll sort of throw something at her. And all the people are panic. And then you'll find out later, oh, he knew that girl. Like it was all
thank God for that.
But it was just constantly doing that.
Yeah.
But so we went on Dave Letterman with this wrestler that was from these southern states and loved. And he'd be abusing them. And eventually he's like, cool, I'll beat this guy up. But then the guy would turn up and he'd run away. So it's like people wanted this guy to beat him up, and then they would end on David Letterman together. And he said to the guy, and David Letterman didn't know. He said, "I want you to light me up." He said, "Just do it." So David Letterman didn't know nothing about this. Anyway, so he went on there and he just started saying, "This guy, he's a moron. Look at him, he's got no brains." And the guy got up and he smacked him off the chair. And then he jumps up and goes, "I'm going to sue you, and all the cameras.
Did he smack David Letterman?
No. Sorry, the wrestler
smacked
the Andy Kaufman, and he told him, just went, go for it. and because they finally met, and he just went bang and knocked him off his chair and messed his face up. And David Letterman obviously didn't know what the hell was going on. The TV, they had to cut it, and it came back on. He said, "I'm going to sue all you," and he started screaming at them again.
So is that in the film then?
That's in the film.
So what's the film? What's the film
I can't
called?
remember.
Man on the Moon.
Man on the Moon.
Oh, is it Man on the Moon?
But get this.
I've never seen that advertised as a child. That's probably why I didn't watch it.
Jim Carrey.
So you can watch the documentary now, and he said, I told the guy to belt me, but I didn't tell anybody. And I said to him, go for it, just knock the hell out. Anyway, but in the film, so the Jim Carrey film where he's playing this guy, Jim Carrey wanted to sort of get into the motions of who Andy Kaufman was. But they used the same wrestler that's still alive in the film to play himself. But Jim Carrey, being a sort of method actor, starts it up again with him and starts annoying him. And you can watch the film, the documentary of it being made, and the wrestler, who obviously knows he's in a film with Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman, Jim Carrey like go to his house at night time and start banging on his windows and waking up. And he said, "Listen, I know it's just a film, but you're taking it too." So he starts it up again. But as Jim Carrey, but he gets into the role, like he dresses as him, but he's not even doing it when they're being filmed. Yeah. So like he'll be having his makeup.
He needs to antagonize him to get him in.
Yeah, but the guy's like, "I've been through this before." But it's what he's
getting paid for it. He's just got to deal with it.
The guy's having his makeup done, the wrestler, like for the film on it, and Jim Carrey dressed as that will sort of run in. It's not the film, but he'll run in and sort of whack some pie in his face and run out, and he'll chase him out and go, listen, this isn't funny. This is supposed to be a serious film.
I do like Jim Carrey, actually.
You got to watch it.
He's a great actor.
And in the end, the guy, and Kaufman obviously does get sick and die. At the end, so he does die. But and it's quite sad, but you realise he's just a troubled guy.
Yeah, he sounds very troubled.
But he's sort of, those are the people that do the weird things that they make films about. But it's funny to see Jim Carrey playing him. But the documentary.
Jim Carrey's been doing a few weird things as well, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily bad weird things. He would go to like, I don't know if it was the Oscars or something along those lines, and just say, "Oh, I'm here with a bunch of morons who are inflating their ego, and I don't even know why I really came, but I had to because I'm doing this film, and my day's been not so great, but onwards and upwards." But he basically would tear it apart, but talk about it in a kind of tongue-in-cheek way.
They are starting to sort of devour themselves, aren't they? Live Hollywood. There's quite a thing to attack themselves, like the silliness of themselves.
But it's kind of like what he was saying is real.
Yeah.
Like
well, it is ludicrous.
What he's saying is real, but he's obviously just got to that point where he's kind of signed out, but still making a joke about it.
Hollywood? You mean more like Hollyweird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. He's becoming a bit of a
Sorry, I haven't said anything for a while.
What's happened to Will Smith since all the things going on? What's gone on there?
He's still making movies.
They're still making.
They made a Bad Boys, and I think they made another Bad Boys.
Yeah. Has he spoken about what happened at the slap?
Yeah, I think he gave an interview.
Quite a few times.
Yeah. And what's his thing? Sorry, or?
Yeah, his wife's spoken about it quite a bit.
Yeah, she's told. She's in the background looking at him.
Yeah. It's such. I feel like that whole situation is such a shame because he had such a good.
Yeah.
I want to say a good reputation on the
persona.
Whole. He had a good persona, didn't he? And after that, it's kind of unraveling.
Well, it's a perfect example of an abusive relationship from the woman to the man, because obviously the physicality isn't there to beat him up, but because she's humiliated him on stage, like basically he's like cheating on him with her son's friend that was around the house, then blaming Will on a TV show. Basically saying like, my husband's supposed to know what I need, and you go, Jesus Christ! Like,
there's certain things you just keep private, don't you? Everyone goes through.
And the fact that you saw what happened, there was nothing wrong. Will was laughing, and then he just took a look.
Yeah, well, he looked at her, and he's like, right, got to do something now.
And so he thought, and that's what I mean about abusive relationship. When you think, why would somebody stay in an abusive relationship? Like somebody's hitting you, go, but you're not in their head. So on one hand, he had his whole career at the Oscars, and all it took was a look from her, and he thought, right, I've got to now try and be a man, and because I feel humiliated by her, so all that was fine to go. I just have to protect her. And you think, right, so that's what an abusive relationship looks like. That there's no common sense to what he's ruining everything because of the power. She's basically emasculated him, and now he's humiliated. So he has to overtop everything to make them know, look, I'm strong. But she's humiliated him.
Yeah, because he's like America's #1 cuck, basically, isn't he? Basically.
It's horrible for him just for her as well.
Just divorce her. He should just divorce her and then shift to being America's #1 divorced guy.
Yeah.
There's good competition there. I mean, you've got Elon Musk, currently #1 divorced man. Who's good at old divorced person?
Who's good at getting divorced?
Who's the top boy divorce man?
Just Trump, but anything apart from legally, they just don't have any sort of association with each other.
What's his name? Ben Affleck.
Oh, has he got divorced?
Actually, he hasn't been married that many times, has he? I know he's been married twice.
It's not about how many times you've been married. It's about how deeply it affects you.
Oh.
And he just, if you see his face, he's currently with like J-Lo, just having J-Lo do his thinking for him.
He's not with her anymore.
Oh, isn't it? He's just.
No.
Well, I was going to say.
They're not with each other anymore.
What a surprise! Because he just looked utterly miserable.
Yeah,
Smiling,
but I think
but
he's
not
got
with
a lot
his
of stuff going on. He seems like he's got drink and drug issues.
Yep.
So, you know.
Oh, talking of Hollywood, look at this, what I saw the other day. I saved this. Right, so I'm just going to pass you this. This is on BuzzFeed News. Another billionaire. What does it say?
What is it? Let me see.
Tony Robbins,
Personal development guru,
has been accused of sexually assaulting a high schooler at a summer camp.
So it goes back to your theory of like all billionaires are just become lunatics. So there's another one that's...
When did that headline come out?
I think it was recent because it popped up. So this is on BuzzFeed News. Just 2 days ago.
Oh dear.
They seem to just be completely detached from reality, basically. So,
well, you're just going from limo to castle to office block to limo back to private restaurant.
I mean, I don't want to obviously take away from the victim, but I suppose these stories can come from anywhere, can't they? You know, it could be 100% true, but it could just be somebody equally wanting to go.
I saw a review because I didn't know anything about Anthony Robbins, but I knew it's all nonsense, all the guru stuff. It's just, they're all salesmen. I looked into it. And if you're a billionaire from personal development, and I don't know anyone, you've never heard of anybody that's been helped by him, you think, what is it then? You're just selling dreams. You're not selling anything.
I've heard of people that have gone to his like boot camps.
Yeah.
And they walk on fire and hot coals and things like that.
Well, a couple of years ago, there was an article that came out where the ambulances had to get called.
Oh, did they?
Because the trick obviously didn't work.
Oh, no.
And a load of people got burnt their feet.
No, and they paid thousands and thousands.
Imagine what that did to your psychology when you're at the final test of what you can do. I'm a failure.
Yeah.
But yes.
I don't want to do that.
What's that?
Walk on coals.
Not for thousands of pounds. You wouldn't do it for free, would you?
Well, the thing is, it is a trick. It's not going to burn your feet because it's not like you're on ash.
But
you're not walking on.
I get it, but I still don't want to do it. And I don't feel the need. I don't get peer pressured.
It's a weird thing to get to that,
Like people, I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Go, but you have to do it. No, I don't. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'll do it if I want to.
I don't think everyone did necessarily do it though, from what I hear.
Okay.
From what I hear.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just another billionaire, a billion. I've always said this before, but I don't want to go on about it. Just, it really is a sickness to have £1 billion. Like in the future, if you look back, if things work itself out, you go, some people piled £1 billion up.
Do you need £1 billion? Do you need £1 billion?
Half of that, 500 million.
Is that the cut-off point?
Yeah, but then it's now it's now power.
Can you remember us when that happens, please?
That's got to be about power. At a certain point, you're not thinking about money more. It's just there's nothing cost anything for you anymore. So
potentially, it's a bit of an addiction as well, isn't it?
Well, that's what I mean about being a sickness.
Once you work out a formula to something, you want to keep doing it.
But I think what happens is you start to associate with people that have got more money than you. They've got the bigger yacht. I mean, there was this thing, I saw a documentary and it was about people in where's Monte Carlo? What's the island where they don't pay taxes?
Monte Carlo.
It is Monte Carlo.
It's not an island.
There's no tax. Oh, okay.
It's a city.
So there's no tax.
Principality.
Yeah, it's they and all the yachts out there, and they go, right, well, here's like a £50 million yacht, and you go, Jesus Christ, and you go, but here's one that's worth 300 million, and it's like 4 times the size. You go, when they get a certain amount of money, you start going to different places, and then you realise, I've got 10 million, but he's got 500 million, and he's got 4 billion, and it just, you're never happy because whatever you're trying to get,
you're leveling up on the level you're on.
Yeah, exactly.
People get angry about it. People get angry like, the guy down the road. He's just got a new kitchen.
Yeah.
Who the fuck do you think he is? Why is he? He's getting a new kitchen, rubbing it in my face, and like, I've had conversations like this, like about some dude. I'm like, all right, I don't.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it nice?
Yeah.
He goes, oh, it's just rub it. He thinks he's better than me. He thinks he's better than me. He just because he knows that I just got a new kitchen.
The lower level arguments
Yeah.
over kitchen?
Yeah.
Working class.
Or like
The
also,
working class arguments.
yeah, well, no, but so-and-so's got a new car and he's just got it in the driveway.
Yeah.
Like he's just showing it. Like, it's a better car than me. And people get angry about
Yeah, they
this.
do.
And I'm like,
Well,
I
and-
don't.
And triggered as well.
Yeah, I
like,
don't care. Like,
Yeah, that's only a sign of
Sure.
unhappy. If anyone gets annoyed at something that doesn't affect them, that's because it's poking something at you that you don't like about
But
yourself.
then I could say that about you and the yacht.
And the what?
And the yacht. Because you're poking at it and it doesn't affect you.
Yeah, no, money doesn't really do anything to me, because I think when it's like that saying where they say if you're famous before you're 30, fame affects you, but what is it? Yeah, something like that. And if you find fame after 30, you affect it, like because your personality's set at a certain
you're
point.
more developed.
So if you get to a certain point, if you haven't had money, then it comes along. It doesn't matter because the life you've built up isn't built on that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you found it when you're 25,
Yeah.
it's
No,
all
I-
hollow.
I
Everything's
understand-
hollow.
I understand that. You've had to work to
Yeah.
get to the position rather than it just landing or...
so talking about fame in
Yeah.
your early 20s, I watched Pumping Iron.
Oh yeah, you said about this.
Oh, tell
Yeah.
me.
So do you know Pumping Iron?
No, what
Okay,
is
so
it?
do you want to explain?
Pumping Iron is the semi-scripted documentary with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno in about the Mr. Was it Mr. Universe?
Mr. Olympia.
Mr. Olympia. Yeah.
Is it on
South
Netflix?
Africa.
It was on Amazon, I believe. It's just gone off free, but it's.
Oh, okay.
It is well worth watching. It is possibly the gayest film that I've ever seen.
Looking back.
Gayest thing I've ever seen. It's like sort of gay porn for a while, because I'm just like it's just beefcake stuff for quite a while.
Yeah.
But what is fascinating, what makes it really, really interesting, not just the beefcake stuff and the hunky dudes. There's a bit more to it. It gets into the psychology of these guys, and I read a lot of the Amazon reviews afterwards, and I was like, did we watch the same film?
Oh.
Theo, you've seen this. What's your take on the film Pumping Iron?
Well, I saw it early on. So it's the original bodybuilding documentary where Arnold Schwarzenegger basically introduced bodybuilding to the world when it went from circus, freak show, strongmen stuff to being taken seriously. And he was the star.
And that's him
Yeah.
with his like big,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he was at his top.
I've seen it advertised, but I'm sure I saw something on Netflix, but maybe it's...
And he was
it's
coming back. In fact, it's in South Africa, and it was the first time in South Africa where you could have mixed competitions with black and white people because it was that early on. But yeah, and it's about him explaining that it's not a freak show thing. This is a psychology, and he's always talking about his psychology, how he beats people, how he tricks people, and he'd use some manipulation tactics to beat. So people start thinking, oh, but they're not just idiots. Here's a guy who's clearly like, there's a psychology here to it. But it's every bodybuilder has watched that. That's the original and the main that's ever been.
So was it received quite well? Or?
At the time, yeah. I mean,
it's very famous.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it made him sort of first. It was way before he started any films.
Yeah.
It was a big thing that he was in. Launched his sort of celebrity
and books and
Because
things like
you was
that.
talking about the comments. I was wondering in the comments what had happened.
Well,
so go on.
the reviews, the Amazon reviews.
Okay, yeah.
So, but basically, what I watched it, and it is a look into the psychological. Basically, these people who do this, a very extreme thing, i.e., turn their bodies into thing, and they do end up looking weird. I mean, all right,
he was absolutely like...
Yeah, all right.
Massive,
there's
wasn't he? Yeah.
And there's sort of all right. You're in good condition, and there's very muscular, and stacked and
Looked a little bit
swole.
abnormal.
but possibly chemically enhanced. Definitely chemically enhanced.
Yeah.
But you sort of go, okay. But then why would you put yourself through all this? And you watch them training, and it's really it's really kind of extreme. It's not a positive thing. And basically, what I found the documentary to be is a look into the psychological damage that put these people into this, because they all just go, oh yeah, well I'm this, and I finished third in this competition, and I put on this weight, and I trained. They're going through all their training regimes, and then at some point they go, well, of course. And they'd explain the trauma in their past, and they'd be like, well, of course my dad beat me and was a terrible alcoholic, and ended up having 3 separate families. He was a bigamist or something, and they go, oh yeah, and I was very bullied at school, and then it got to the point where I was like, okay, and your trauma is, sir? And I was waiting for the shoe to drop.
Expecting it, yeah.
I was waiting for and they all had these weird stories, like, and it was just like a defense mechanism. You know, they were like, "Oh, I'm not going to allow myself to be, you know, a victim anymore, and I'm going to become huge." And so I thought, I came away thinking, yeah, these are deeply troubled people. These are very, very damaged people who are doing who are all doing something that's very bad for them, because they're all drugs, they're all steroids, and they're all things. They're all overdoing it, and it's not. They're doing it such a level that it's not good for your health. I mean, it really isn't. It's going.
Well, they're training 3 or 4 times a day, 7 days a week,
yeah.
And this is a time where the Olympian, which was the champion of champions, was like $1,000. You think how much money you'd spent in food, and it's got to be the most dedicated sport, because you're measuring your food and training 4 days a week, 7 days a week throughout.
Yeah,
everything has to be perfect, water retention, all that, and you get the best person on the planet gets $1,000 at the end. It wasn't even worth the travel, let alone all the money.
Yeah, well, even boxers, I mean, they actually have time off. They you know, like they'll have these intensive training things, and then most of them will just go off and get pissed and start doing drugs and stuff in their off time.
At least you get money for that, but doing it at a time where there was nothing.
Yeah,
no money. They didn't get anything. I was listening on the radio to a lady who did the Olympics. I believe it was in the 70s, and she said she had a full-time job, and she used to do the Olympics as like a part-time job on the side.
So yes, so I thought, oh wow, this is really good, and this is a really fascinating psychological study of these broken men desperately trying to fill the void and trying to deal with these awful sort of traumas and this victim complex that they have. And then I read all the reviews on Amazon. They're like, wow, really inspiring stuff. Totally makes me want to work out. And it's just like, yeah, whenever I think, oh, I don't want to go down the gym, I just put this on, and it really inspires me to go that extra mile training. And I'm like, did we watch the same film here? Because I came away feeling very sorry for these guys and thinking, God, these guys actually genuinely they need to talk to someone. You know what I mean? They need professional, but they just need to chat with someone that counselling something. Because they've obviously got such a lot of unresolved issues. People are like, no, they're doing fine. They're super cool.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
oh my God. It kind of makes me think about Simone Biles. You know, she stepped out of the Olympics the last Olympics, not the one this year, because of mental health issues.
Oh, okay.
And she's the best gymnast in the world. And she absolutely got dragged because they were like, you know, is she putting it on? This is too late in the game for you to be doing this. And she took the time out and she came back and she smashed this Olympics. So it's quite nice to see the change, because obviously maybe around the time of this bodybuilding, you couldn't kind of get the mental health aspect out. So you had to channel it into something, didn't you? You had to channel it into a different way, didn't you? So it's
Sinead
quite
O'Connor,
nice.
I watched a document because I followed her career, and when she died, everyone saying, oh, we miss her. And you go, she was a real iconoclast. Like, she was anybody that would go on to go on to an American chat show and being told like this is your big moment, and then tearing up like a picture of the Pope in New York.
Yeah,
and you're not 40, you're 20 and doing that. Yep. Imagine that nowadays where everything's packaged. Like, think of throwing somebody saying you do not say anything about the Pope, and you just go, shh.
Yeah. Bye.
And this is back before paedophilia and all that started being talked about.
Yeah.
And she was talking about like her mental health problems in the last years of her life. And she said, like, she was on so many drugs and things, she didn't know what was going on. She said, because I was getting medication for mental health in Ireland in the 80s, they didn't know what was going on. So they just gave her a load of like, is a sledgehammer drug. So I thought, oh yeah, so you go back a few decades, you forget people didn't know what mental health. They didn't know what you're talking about. Here's some drugs if you're like psychotic.
Here's a bottle of whiskey. Literally knock yourself out.
Yeah,
go for it. Yeah, drink yourself unconscious. There you go.
Yes, I felt bad when she died because I thought, oh God, there was who named some famous American pop star teenagers. Go on, I know.
Justin Bieber?
No, the female.
That's who I thought.
Yeah. It was swinging
age?
balls. Somebody was swinging on a ball.
Miley Cyrus.
That was it, right?
Yeah.
And it was so funny because when you got these sort of hollow celebrity, they were saying feminism and all. And in one of her things, Sinead O'Connor always had that famous thing where she was on black and white and the shaved head singing into it, and she cried at the end.
Yeah.
And she sort of put some scenes of that into one of her films and then said, look, because I respect Sinead O'Connor, blah, blah, blah. And Sinead O'Connor being a real feminist in the 80s.
Did she tear up a picture of Miley Cyrus?
No, she said basically like, I don't know which part of feminism requires you to be in your underwear swinging on a giant ball. But I think like you basically, I don't think you're a feminist.
She wasn't agreeing with.
Yeah, it's not just saying stuff you. That's not being a feminist because you're basically packaged and sold. This is somebody that's in their 20s and Sinéad, a picture of the Pope.
Sinéad O'Connor came round to her house, drop kicked through the front door, like double foot.
Well, she wrote about the fact that a Prince trying to smash her face in, like they had a big argument. Prince, like the artist.
Prince.
Yeah.
What, Sinéad?
Yeah, they were in. They knew each other in America, and something. There was an argument. She got like kind of sort of run around and sort of belted her, and she had to run to her house.
There?
God damn it! Like Prince, like
like Prince. Yeah. They were friends. Yeah.
No money.
Yeah. Hardly so. I mean, he's dead now, but like, I think I could have beef with Prince.
Yeah.
Even Prince and all his boys.
I
think.
not like Prince.
Well, there was somebody phoned up a radio station. You were talking about Prince when he died. He's only like 5'1", something like that.
Yeah.
Like tiny. Yeah. And she said I was at a restaurant and somebody came up. Somebody I knew was like with him, so he came up and she said he's very tiny and like he said. But I can see why women find him sexy. Like there's something about that sort of feminine, that's very
he's got sass.
sexual. Yeah.
Got swag in there.
I don't know if it's a combination of swag and sass.
Yeah, she said it's just I just found him quite sexy, even though he's like.
Yeah.
But he's another one that's a proper artist because he could play any musical instrument. I think he had a concert where you could basically just shout a song and then he'd start playing it in his touch. So he knew about music.
Did any of you see Prince live?
No, God, I've never been to any concerts. Have you ever been to a concert?
Yeah.
Oh, what have you gone to see?
I don't know. For quite a few people.
Local or big things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have I seen?
Megastars.
I saw Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Saw like Lee Scratch Perry.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
The reggae guy.
What about stand-up?
He produced lots of Bob Marley stuff.
Oh, okay. Have you been to any stand-up?
Yeah.
Anyone we'd know or just local?
Dylan Moran, I saw a long time ago. Irish guy from Black Books.
Okay.
And what's his name? I saw a couple of things. Oh, God, I can't remember.
Have you ever been to concerts?
Can't remember.
Any concerts?
Yeah.
Yes, I have, but I can't say they're like super mega stars. I haven't seen any like superstars.
I just don't know anybody.
I think I saw James Brown once. If you
James Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But
was this in his cocaine years?
Living in America.
He was duetting with Will Young. So this tells you how long ago this was. This was like
I know the name.
the noughties.
Right.
Yeah.
He won, so Will won,
So he was old.
Pop Idol.
Oh, I don't
so
know.
he was like really current, and
Yeah.
then he was on stage with James Brown. They have like a little sing off together.
How did that work?
Yeah.
What was James Brown like at that point? Was he still?
It was quite, do you know what it just reminded me of? So he was in a really snazzy suit and he had this sort of straight, hot combed quiff. So he was very like charismatic on stage and he was great actually. But he actually reminded me of this really old guy that used to come to a club that we used to go to all the time. And he'd wear the jazziest suit. He was super, I don't know how old he was, but he used to get all the girls because he just had the audacity to go out on his own, you know, doing his little moves on the dance floor. And that's kind of the age James Brown was, you know, probably nearly 80 or something.
I was going to say, oh yeah, just suddenly remember, Rolling Stones. They were there.
Oh, great. That's a nice one.
A few years ago, and they were spectacular. That was awesome. I got free tickets. So
I just don't think there's nobody I've ever met that I would go out a night to just see that person.
Oh, you haven't
been that inspired to be?
So you haven't been to any concerts?
No,
none
nothing.
at all.
No matches, no sporting events, and nothing.
Okay.
nothing live, really.
Nothing. There's nobody that's been that important that I'd go. But I'm going to see that or them. Cinema. That's the only thing I've been to.
I went to see an artist called Ben Bomber. He's not like super mainstream.
Artist is in what?
I say an artist. He's a DJ.
Okay.
And he had Barry Can't Swim supporting him. But that was kind of like my COVID concert because I discovered, you know, like when you discover new things in COVID because you had all this extra time. Okay. So that was an artist I discovered during COVID, and that was one of my favourite concerts I've been to.
What else do you do? What do you do in your spare time? Like hobbies or anything like that? Specific books, painting?
So I like to do like a lot of outdoor activities. So like paddle boarding, hiking, climbing.
You ever go to the coast to do like walking things?
Yeah.
Like what areas?
So I'm trying to think where I've been.
Southwest,
recently.
north?
All over, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, just anywhere. I think England's got a lot of really nice coastlines. So I think it's a great weekend trip that you can do, to be honest.
Oh.
So yeah, I'd say pretty much active things.
What about reading books and things? You reading anything?
I'm more of a sort of audible person. So I'd love to read more books, but I get easily distracted.
Real life stuff, autobiographies?
Autobiographies.
What was the last one?
You're putting me on the spot now.
Or what was one of the last ones you can remember?
So, God. Do you know what? I like a lot of self-help books. Let me turn it around a bit. I do self-help books, but I've always kind of enjoyed listening to those because I do implement parts of that in my life.
That's what I was going to say about Anthony Robbins, going back to self-help. When I looked into his background, he's basically only ever had one job, and it was in his early 20s when he was a salesman.
Yeah.
Since then,
he's just been
personal development.
So,
just saying stuff. I'll never forget watching a documentary on personal development where there was he's in England, and there was a woman, and she was in £3,000 worth of debt because of all the self-improvement she's gone. It literally put me to debt.
Some of the courses are
because it's selling you stuff that's just nothing. It's just, when I started to do personal development stuff before I went into the magazine thing, I remember just looking at it and going, Jesus, there's such an easy route of doing this where you could say stuff that sounds right and it's just hollow. And that's what people do. That's what people do.
I feel that like what a lot of these people do is they go, right, what you'll do, because obviously you're going to them because you're like, what I'm doing currently isn't working for me. And basically the message is, okay, just change it. Yeah. What you're doing isn't working, so just alter it. So just think about what you're doing, do something slightly different. And then you'll feel like you're doing, so you'll get out of the ruts. Because most people do it, because a lot of people do it, because they get a bit of a rut, they get into these routines, very easy to do so. And, you keep repeating these behaviors. Sometimes it can be a bit negative, and you're repeating negative behaviors and not maximizing the positives. And it's just that little bit of change. Just to say, I don't know, wake up at 6 in the morning, wake up 2 hours early and...
the 5 a.m. club.
Tidy up or something. Tidy up before you go thing and or do some exercise or whatever. And then people go, oh, wow, it's changed my life, because you're just altering that routine that you're setting, that rut you're in. You're just changing it, tweaking it slightly. And people feel like that, that this is a big change. Oh my God, this is such words of wisdom. And it's just like, well, yeah, it's just telling you to tidy your room, bucko.
The real help, there's not actually money in it because it's basic stuff. Yeah. I mean, when I put the magazine together, the dietitian that I used, when we was going to put something in there that's affordable for people for health, there's different sections in the magazine, and the superfood of the month that you should be taking was a tomato, and she said it's not fashionable, it's not trendy, but it's in your fridge, and pound for pound, that's got more vitamins in it than whatever goji berry that's £3.
Yeah.
But that's not what you want to hear, and that's the problem. You want to hear, it's not my fault. Here's this new thing I've never had. I need to go and buy it. It's a new thing. Saying, you've already got all the stuff you need doesn't help, because it's your psychology is the problem.
Yeah.
And the weakness that personal development exploits is like, it's a new thing. There's a new diet. There's a new...
I can see that people are exploited 100%.
Yeah.
But as a person who reads sort of self-help books, I definitely feel that it's helped me in a positive way.
They can't not help.
I don't feel like I need to get, jump on a fad.
No, but this is the problem though. There's good things there, obviously. That's why. But the problem is the industry is a problem. Like I saw, there was one woman.
Well, I think a lot of people are looking for just a hack and a cheat.
Yeah.
They're like, there must be like a gimmick. There must be like a little shortcut.
A new piece of equipment, a new diet.
Especially from a successful person, if you feel like they might be giving you an answer, like a solution to a hack to be more successful.
Yes, because what they're trying to tell you is...
there must be a secret route.
They're doing something different. How are they doing it? I want to know.
They're telling you, no, it's not your fault. It's buy this thing and that will help, rather than you've actually got all the information you need. You know everything. It's just you don't want to because of your psychology. You do not need anything. You don't need new equipment.
Do you read any self-help books?
No, that's why I genuinely decided when I put the because that was the first thing I ever looked into when I just thought I've got to plan some sort of life for myself. Learned to read, went to self-help audiobooks.
Yeah.
And then just year after year after year, I realised this is all nonsense. This doesn't work. You've got to be, because you have to be at a certain level for it to help. Anything that when you're in the real world, it will not help nothing. because it's a psychology problem. It's not these little tapping around.
It's not for everyone, and obviously not.
No, but
for you.
I looked in. That's why I decided. I thought there is no personal development industry. It's just a big sales con. So when I put the magazine, spent 10 years putting the magazine together, I thought, right, I'm going to invent the personal development. This is what it is. It's ugly.
You're going to invent it.
No, because there is, to me, it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Because nobody looked into it more than me. Because I had nothing else going on in the world. I had nothing, couldn't read, lived on the street.
Do you listen to a lot of audio?
I can only listen to audio. I can't read the books.
Yeah.
But self-help is just every couple of years, somebody says, no, there's this guy. And I go, I'm not listening. And I go back and I go,
and you listen to
it. You have to look into their background. They go, where have you come from to get to? And you go, oh, like they just made money, or they bumped into so-and-so. You go, nobody's actually lived a life and gone from there to there and crawled through every step.
Didn't you say you liked Oprah Winfrey?
Yeah, but this is my thing. I only learned.
She does a lot of
personal development. She was one of the only ones, and it wasn't her personal development at all. This is pre-Oprah, as you think, like personal development. I just remember, knowing about her life. And that's why I decided to do what I was going to do, because I thought I'm going to do a journey here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to teach you stuff. I'm going to do a journey. And if it works, I'm going to tell you about how a human, normal person in the real world with no money, no luck, didn't bump into anybody, don't live in Hollywood. This is how it works. And I had to figure out everything, spirituality, health, wealth, and culture. Like I had to learn my whole life. I had to be taught to myself through self-help. But self-help industry was the enemy. It was literally the poison masquerading as the cure, as they say. And there's little things in there, but it's all a con. It's just nonsense. It's just people trying to be famous, or people trying to make money from buy this, buy that. And it's all stuff that I genuinely thought, when I was looking at it, I thought I could make a lot of money if I do what they do. I thought, but it's not real. It's just another.
What do you think, Charlie?
I think I could make loads of money if I didn't have a soul.
If you didn't have, if I
didn't have a soul.
He's going to tell me he's working on something then.
No. But I just thought, I think that sometimes I think, God, yeah, and I really could have just, let's say, shagged a lot more as well if I just was, complete scumbag. You know what I mean? But I just think
there's a lot of money
little bit in me that's like,
liar.
What's this got to do?
I am a scumbag, but I'm not like a complete scumbag. That's the trouble, and it's that bit, because I just think, it's like with diets and stuff. It's just, as I said, it's all just people looking for a shortcut and a little thing, and it's just like, well, actually, what you need to do is you need to look at it. You need to have some self-awareness, some critical analysis.
Yeah, but not everyone does have self-awareness.
Well, no, this is the problem. Is that most people don't.
It,
and this is why psychology is a thing, because lots of people act in a way they don't know why they do things. Like most people don't really know why they're doing stuff, or what motivates them, or why. And why they get themselves into these sometimes awful sticky situations and they make these wrong decisions or make right decisions. People aren't really aware of that, and this is why there is this huge industry, and rightly so. Whatever, I'm not anti-psychology, whatever. I'm not, but this is why this industry exists. Is because people, you have to pay someone to say, no, this is why you're doing this. This is why you're whatever. Dressing up in a leather mask
but it's all psychology. The whole thing is based on the underpinnings of who you are and the people you're around. Someone on a stage saying amazing things and you're going to change your life and being positive and all that. It's like tapping around the edges. So they feel great when they're there, and a couple of days after, amazing. And then 6 months. Gone, nothing happened because it didn't fix anything. Because to fix something, it's horrible and it's hard. I always use the gym,
but like Charlie was saying. There's a lot of people that don't have self-awareness, and sometimes what these self-development people are promoting is self-awareness, and some of the activities are around self-awareness.
But it's the underpinning of why can't you feel that way. It's not just saying, you need to be stronger, you're gonna this, and positive outlook. You go, that echo goes away. And then you're left in the real world again, and you go, and then you go to the next one and the next one, and nothing changes. And I use the analogy of the gym. If you watch like light entertainment channels, and they'll have some fitness guru that comes around every 5 years, got a new one, who doesn't look like they train, they just look like a slim, attractive person. And they say, well, if you cut out the croissant and if you have half a thing, you use the stairs 3 times a day. They've just found somebody in the industry that will lie to you. That's all they've done. Anybody that you went to a gym and you go, well, that person clearly looks like he trains. They're not going to go on and tell you that because they know it's absolute nonsense. They'll say, you've got to come to the gym. It's going to hurt and you're going to have to sweat.
Do you not think that in a lot of industries, there's noise? There's people jumping on the bandwagon, and then there are some genuine people that are doing some good things. And I feel like
Yeah, it gets watered down.
Anyone can water down an industry.
Yeah, and the people that got the most
it,
integrity, you won't hear about because they won't do the fake stuff. They won't go into like I said, personal training. I could tell you about 3 that it's not about you go and you stay with it and you come back every week. You go, I need to look like that for an acting role. How long will it take me? And how many times do I have to train? And then they'll just do that. But you can't get that trainer to go on GMTV or whatever and sit there and say nice things about if you cut this out and you have a smoothie because they know it's rubbish, but you don't know that because the mass media that doesn't attend to that won't allow for that person to go on there.
I think young people are obviously quite vulnerable in situations like that.
Well, they've got more noise because they have the internet.
Well,
at least
yeah,
before
it's super noisy, and I feel like you can, make more informed decisions with time that you might not have known any better when you were a bit younger.
Well, we've spoken about this before on the podcast. I said I was going to get the girl on that was was an Instagrammer who was doing all the exercises in the yoga pants and all that, and then she just said, "I didn't do anything."
That wasn't the lady that did the marathon race, was it?
No, this is somebody else. Yeah,
all right.
No, yeah. So she said, and in her 20s, she said, I was posting everything every day. She said, I never did nothing. She said, I did the same exercise that I've always done. And so the young people have got that. But until you grow up, you don't realise how fake it is.
No,
Even with politics, you don't
follow
realise.
a lady like that. She's a fitness influencer. And I've followed her since the noughties. I'm saying it like it's a really long time ago. It is. So followed her since the noughties, and she did a lot of recipes and healthy eating, different exercises. And she had an eating disorder, but she's only said that now.
Yeah.
But I suppose some of these people, they don't even necessarily know they've got an issue because they're trying to keep up with something.
But you've got the young kids following them. They go, well, this seems like a person. You go, this is a business. It is like when you get,
it's a whole industry.
Well, even with adults with politics, eventually you realise it just seeps in. They go, they don't believe anything in this, and none of them do. And there's always a new person, but it's the same thing. So even like people that aren't involved with the industry of fitness or personal development, just with politics, you can get it. You go, you don't know until one day you just sort of go, this is all bullshit.
Yeah, because all those others are liars, and it's all nonsense.
Yeah.
Except for me, and I'm I'm the one who's different, and I'm going to come and tell it how it is.
But it's like that with politics, with the fitness channels, with the personal development. The people that make it are the ones that are sort of selling their soul, like the politicians. I'll just say whatever, and that's why you'll know who I am. Because the people that won't do that, the award-winning ex-athlete that's a personal trainer somewhere, he's not going to get on that channel because he's not going to lie.
I always think there's exceptions. There are. You just have to do your research.
No, what I mean,
and you're right. A lot of people, a lot of the more decent people get drowned out in the noise.
Yeah, but that's the point. The world is set up for people that are willing to sell their soul for marketing and content. The people that just want to do good things. Politicians, fitness instructors, you won't hear about the good ones because they won't sell their soul to get up to the top.
And people have a weird gradient because people say, "Oh, I don't like Keir Starmer because he's boring," and I'm like,
Prime Minister.
Okay. That's not, I don't care if he's boring or not. That's not how I pick a prime minister. I pick it on competency. I don't pick a surgeon. Like, who do you want to be your surgeon? Do you want the guy who's going to turn up like hungover? He gets out and has a little shot of whiskey before, get the shakes off. He's cool and wicked and awesome, just having got a mistress and got those girlfriend, Or do you want someone who actually knows what the hhell they're doing? You know what I mean? And like is competent. It's so weird.
Yeah, but
and this whole thing of like, bodge monster. Oh, he's kind of guy you want to go for a pint with. I'm like, I don't care. That's not how I'm picking a prime minister.
Yeah, but the thing you realise is the whole system, doesn't matter who ends up at the top, the system itself doesn't allow for certain people that will have integrity and won't lie. You can't get to that position. You will never see those people because to get that slow process to become a prime minister, you have to go through all these other levels of being socially checked and politically checked by people around you to eventually you become a part of the system. You can't come in at the bottom and start telling everyone we're going to do this differently, you're not going to do it, we're going to do it right, because you just won't get up to the top.
Well, yes, and sometimes they do pick people on purpose who might be a little compromised because they have a bit of dirt on them.
That's what a bit, but the whole thing is
genuinely, they know someone, like they know this person has multiple affairs or has 18 children and always embezzle a bit of money here and there. They know this and they sort of allow this person to rise up a bit. Because you think, how do these people get up to these top jobs? Well, sometimes they sort of get fast tracked because they have a bit of dirt on them. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
have leverage.
or they're maybe keeping each other's dirt, you know?
Yeah.
They're in the group.
True. How are you going to trust someone who doesn't take a bribe, you know?
Well,
that's what that's the jokes, but it's what the NYPD used to say, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a joke, but it's not.
But it's not. It's like, how are you going to trust someone
right,
who's not on the take?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
We can't if he's not dirty, how can you trust him? Because,
Yeah.
he's not
might grass us all up.
inculcated.
Yeah, what dirt do you put on them?
He might snitch on us because he's not inculcated in the same crap that we're doing. You know what I mean? He was loose cannon. He might do anything.
On a similar note, unearned power, I saw this article and I stopped reading it. So I haven't read this properly, but it's 10 rules and laws that the royal family is allowed to break. Right, so there's 10. I haven't read this, so I'm reading this. This is on Business Insider magazine, just at the end of it last year. So the first one, so I'm just going to read this. The British monarch can't be arrested or be the subject of a civil and criminal proceedings, meaning he is effectively exempt from the law. So what if he did, just something happened and he got in an argument and he just stabbed somebody with something and they died?
But didn't you say in the book Spare, that's kind of like Harry had to take the rap for William?
That was that was stories like the king had it's just hierarchy. So if the journalist, it's this big chess game of, right, we've got the story on Prince William. If you don't give us a story on Prince Harry, we're going to print this one on William.
Yeah, so there must be like a substitute for anything he's doing wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, they're just talking about criminal proceedings here. Like, so there's no technically, because they are the magistrates, so you can't really prosecute yourself. Sort of like the police is the Queen, the King's police. You can't arrest the people that own them.
So you're saying that if King Charles were to accidentally kidnap, murder and eat a baby, by accident.
That's, I mean, how far does it go? I mean, it says he enjoys sovereign immunity. I mean, he can't be prosecuted under a civil or criminal investigation. The rule.
Is that true? Because I thought the Magna Carta. I'm going to go back to the Magna Carta. Dust that old baby off. Yeah, all right. But I thought the point of that in the Magna Carta was to say that actually the king wasn't exempt.
Yeah, you're right. So
exempt from law. So
I know they do tighten it up every year.
I don't know if that's still standing in British law.
How much of the royal family does it include? Because I'm sure that Prince Andrew's
sovereign, so any of them
been dragged into many a court.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say. It applied to.
I don't think he has.
Whatever.
Actually. No, not even for the weird embezzlement stuff.
Oh.
Civil or criminal, so it's both.
So yeah, maybe it works.
He's talked about it and he said that, oh yeah, I'll totally do that. And the thing he actually, I remember was it Bose? Not Bose. Bertie. He actually spoke. He was the first person to actually give a deposition in a civil case, I think.
Oh.
And that was about 1920 or 30.
Oh, blimey. Right, so listen.
So they have done. That was the one time I think that they did do that. I
wonder if the sovereign, does the sovereign refer to the person at the top?
That would be the king. That would be
so I think sovereign immunity would be that.
Boy.
Yeah, because that's their royal. Look, they're the head of the alcove, so maybe it's the top person.
And so not just the hangers-on.
Yeah. The next one.
Their entourage.
The royal family does not have to obey speed limits, but only when they're driving by police on official royal duties. So I suppose they could just floor it. For the royal duty, you don't have to give it. Yeah, because who's gonna?
Well, remember the Duke of Edinburgh, and he was driving around.
Oh yeah,
when he was basically like dead.
Yeah,
he's like a little
couple of crashes.
Like, just like a little zombie version of himself, zombified version of himself, and he had like a crash. He smashed into this woman's car. And she had like she was pregnant or something. I think she was pregnant, and like she had to apologize publicly to him. Yes. And make a big deal, and they were like, "Oh, this stupid evil woman! She's ruined everything. I hate her so much." And I'm like,
"She jumped in my way."
She's just anti-royal. She's so evil. I hate her. That's what I heard. They had these conversations, people.
But that's the articles they need.
Why? Because she got hit by a car
from behind.
Yeah.
Right, listen. So got to get on the next one. So Queen Elizabeth didn't have to use a passport to travel, and this is likely to be the truth for King Charles. Well, that's fair enough. Well, I suppose you're on private. She's not getting on BA.
Yeah, private jet.
Yeah. Her Majesty was never required to have a driving licence. So even on the road,
she doesn't drive herself though, does she?
No, yeah, she's got because she did drive. She had a Range Rover.
Yeah, she did drive around in the States. Apparently, I think
she's part of the territorial.
Up in Scotland, she used to drive. And same thing with Duke of Edinburgh as well. He was driving around without any security. interesting enough, because supposedly he was off seeing his mistress. Now he was 982
Risking
years
his
old,
life.
so he wasn't doing anything, but he did have several mistresses apparently.
Oh, she can drive around even with
I'm not-
even without a number plate.
I'm going to question some of this.
Well, it's in Business Insider. I mean, that's a reputable thing.
Okay.
That's a big company. Let's see the next one. While regular grandparents have to go through the courts if they want custody of their grandchildren, the king has automatic legal custody of all of his descendants and minor grandchildren.
I think that's to do with the lineage, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of makes sense.
So you have to sort of protect
300-year-old rule
or something.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone is. I think that when there's a royal birth, then there have to be so many people present to sort of prove that baby came out of that vagina.
Yeah.
They didn't do a switcheroo or anything.
Yeah.
Because
The illegitimate children are not entering here.
This 300-year-old rule may seem odd, and though it's unlikely the king would ever take his grandchildren away from his parents, the law is still technically there. So imagine that your grandparents could take your kids away from you. Right, okay. What's the next one? Members of the royal family are exempt from paying taxes in certain incidences. Well, that's the money you do see. The royals are also able to skip out of jury duty.
fair enough, I suppose. It's like you couldn't have the prime minister. Like I was just thinking, the prime minister. You couldn't have the prime minister take a couple of months.
Well, they're
off.
saying it basically wouldn't be given to them anyway, so it's sort of like different.
But
the monarch typically has 2 birthdays. According to the royal family's official website, she's celebrated 2 a year. Her actual birthday on April 21st, and her official public birthday celebration, second Saturday in June. Across generations, sovereign rulers have often held their public birthday celebration on days other than the actual birthdays, especially when the real birth dates fall in the fall or winter. This is in order to increase the likelihood of good weather for annual trooping the colour parade. Oh, right, so it's really, they've got one actual birthday and one that's in the summer, so they can have the whole parade thing rather than doing it in the snow.
So they can dress up.
Yeah.
Have a march around here.
The monarchy is also exempt from the Freedom of Information Act.
Interesting.
What's all that? The royal household is not public authority within the meaning of the FOI Act, and is therefore exempt from the provisions according to the royal family website.
They've got some great protections in these laws, haven't they?
There's one that I don't think they're going to have on here
how
that
old
I
are
know.
These?
Yeah, a lot of them are like old.
Oh, okay.
Because any law that actually affects them, they have to go. They actually have to pass. It goes to the monarch, and then they actually have to think, and they can just kind of block it by not passing it. So there's been a whole thing about land freely land. What's it?
What?
Property land holdings.
Yeah.
And ownership, like, where you buy a property for whatever, you only get a lease for 100 years or whatever, you buy a house, but it's only for 100.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the name of it, blanking. But yes, that's been held up because they were trying to get rid of that. That's been held up because that's what a lot of the monarchs' estates are on.
Yeah.
And so they've kind of sat on it. And they can either sit on it or they can insist on an exemption to get things through. And this is what you're pointing out, is the fact that there are lots of exemptions in laws like this.
Well,
that would affect them. And they can actually press to put them in.
Yeah. Well, I said this before. It was when the RSPCA got their royal warrant, so it's just the protection of Society of Animals. When they got the royal warrant, I think it was about the 80s. So they got the royal protection, so they can now have the police do things on their behalf rather than just a charity. And they said like the RSPCA can go anywhere with royal protection now. If they can't get in, they can call the police and the police will come protect them. The only place they can't is any royal property.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You go, but that had to be put in to say, yeah, by the way, we're giving this to you.
So they could be
don't
doing
be
all
coming
kinds of
around
wrong stuff, but we can't go there.
And if you read the book, the spare book, when I said when they go hunting stags up in Scotland, and they cut the stag open and they force Will's head in to the was it Will? No, what's the younger one? Harry. They forced Will. He said, when I got on my knees, he said, I thought we were going to pray for the animal. And the Scottish guy just grabbed my head. He said, he just forced my head into the guts. And when I came out, I was like trying to wipe it off. And he's going, no, you got to leave it on there. You got to leave it on. I thought, see, that was happening on the council estate. you're done. You're arrested. Multiple
They're
crimes.
taking your kids away. They're literally taking those kids
Well, I don't
away.
think there's any stags on a council estate.
No,
anyway.
but my point is,
Well,
the
if they
psychology.
killed a dog, okay, you shoot a dog,
anything.
you get some kid and you jam his head in its stomach. I think,
To me, that
Yeah.
doesn't make. I don't care that it's on raw thing and it's a stat. That's still a child that you force there. But well, it's the way it's done, and nobody's going to.
I imagine it's like the opening bit of Empire Strikes Back.
I can't remember that.
You know, where he cuts open the thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought they smelt bad on the outside, and he has to gut it and then take what's
Did he
inside
gut
out.
it to keep warm? Or?
Yeah, and then they stuck Luke in there because Luke was.
But that's a real thing. Like hunters do that.
Well, I assume it's a bit like that, basically.
Yeah. Well,
Ooh, you're right.
did he have his little book out? Oh yeah, there he goes. Look, he's got it up there. He's talking about sandwiches there.
So here we go.
Well, we'll finish on this. What?
Yes. Okay. So I saw a video and I made everyone watch it.
Oh, Trump.
Oh, I know.
And it deeply troubled me. And I haven't been this troubled since I saw the video of the rabbis going through
In New York.
In New York, appearing like Cooper Troopers. Like
I still like the fact that people report. I can hear Jewish people in the walls,
like warp tunnels, like as they go down and dig in the secret tunnels. Because it makes me look like I'm a psychopath when I try and explain. This is why I showed you the video, because it makes me seem like I've just my brain's gone.
So explain what it is.
Okay, Trumpy Trout.
Yeah,
Trumpy Trout is like a Billy Big Mass bath, the singing electrical bath with Trump's face.
So this is a Bassett,
but it's a Trout version of Trump. It's one of the most ugly things I think I've ever seen in my life. It's got Trump's hair, but also it talks, and it sort of says mad stuff. So it says, "I'm the greatest fish that ever lived. I'm the best trout. I'm the best trout." People come up to me, tough guys come up to me with tears in their eyes and say, "I've never seen a trout like you. It's been amazing."
There's always somebody that comes up to him and says something. Yeah.
He said that about the Queen as well. He's like, the Queen. She said to me, You're an amazing man. You're an amazing president, possibly the greatest president of all time, and no one's ever done a job like you. And he said, "No." I looked and I could see a little tear forming in their eye. Yeah, just a little bit.
Do you remember when he did the thing about the bath TV? He had to repeat 5 things. He had the test.
Yeah.
And it was just basically every president has to have the test, the mental deficiency test, make sure they're okay. Because he's so dumb, he was explaining it to people as if it was an intelligence test. He
had to remember 5 things. He said, "No one's ever got as high a score as me."
And this is on.
says the man who told people to inject bleach into themselves.
Yeah, I mean, he's.
I'll have you know,
drink
madam.
bleach.
I'll have a no, madam. He never said he would inject bleach. He was saying put disinfectant into the body. He never actually mentioned bleach. This is what everyone goes on about. If you watch the clip, he just says you put the disinfectant inside the body.
He's going, maybe we could try that, and the woman behind's going,
maybe you should look into that. And they're like, yeah, totally. We're going to look into that.
It sounds above board.
Trumpy Trout. So Trumpy Trout has a please Google it because it's
Can we include a link?
it disturbed me. It deeply disturbed me because it has a mouth that looks like the type of toy you buy off a specialist website that you stick your dick into.
you did mention that.
That also is very off-putting to me because he's sort of going, he's like, hello, it's just Trumpy Trout, stick it in it.
He's got little fluffy wings for his hands.
And he's got little things so you
grim.
can get some grip, get some leverage on it and really go to town. And then he starts and he was going on, a lot of sea bass, a lot of them are rapists, a lot of them are murderers, a lot of them are drug dealers, but some of them are good people. Some of the bass, they're good people. So he's racist about sea bass. He's a trout who's racist about bass. And then there's a whole backstory now of him and he's like, I'm going to be the greatest. I'm going to make this pond the best pond ever. I'm going to make this pond great again. And like, I'm going to build a wall around the pond. Yeah. And it's like a joke. So I laughed at this. I'm like, this is like a joke taking the piss out of Trump. But then it's advertised on Newsmax, which is like a right-wing news channel. And it's been marketed towards sort of Trump people. So I'm like, what is this? Is this like, because I thought I was joking, it's a parody. Yeah. And this is why I watched it stony-faced, and I watched it multiple times, and I was just like, is this a joke? Is this a parody? Is this like a gimmick thing taking the piss? Is it not? Is it actually like, is it the Trumpy Trout version of like the Elvis commemorative plate, sort of kitschy thing that goes up in grannies? trailer park thing. And I don't know, or is it all of it? Is it just shotgun approach and just be like, yeah, there's an ironic level here? Because they can detect like where the advert is, it's got loads of and it's got loads of like weird laughing bits. And I'm like, this is obviously...
Maybe you have to be drunk to get it. You'll be drinking and watch it and go, oh, I get it now.
maybe you're high on meth or something.
Yeah.
It's confusing, but he's confusing, isn't he? So.
Yes. But there's a sort of there's an ironic level there that is obviously mocking and you know.
Who does this appeal to?
Yes. This is what I was just going over and over in this in my brain. Like, who does this appeal to? Why does this exist? Why do I want to buy one? Why am I checking to see whether they deliver to the UK? I need to double check that. I'm not sure they do because it's $60, but they're doing a deal now. It's really good. They're doing a deal. So if you book the normal one, you actually get the deluxe model that comes with a little stand so you can really fuck that mouth.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I just like that he's on the back foot now. It's great because he doesn't really know what to do when he's on the back foot. So he's just reverted to sort of it'll just become childish again. Just because he's got nothing politically. So now that he's on the back, because he's better when he's bullying somebody. Now he's on the back foot. He doesn't know what to do. So you're just going to start hearing the old tropes come out again.
She's got dementia, folks.
Yeah, but
she's old. Yeah. She doesn't even know where she is.
It's all gone. Now he's the old guy.
Yeah.
When he did the dementia test, it made me laugh. Yeah, and he thinks it's an intelligence test. So he's saying I had to repeat 5 words, and he said I got them all right. And he doesn't realise it's not to show your intelligence repeating 5 words. And when he lied, when he said...
It's like taking credit for tying his shoelaces in the morning.
Yeah, he goes, the doctor... He said, the doc... And I thought he was joking. He said, the doctor come up to me and he said, my God, how did you do that? I thought, what doctor comes up to you? Did he stick a lolly in your mouth? I thought, maybe he did say it because he realised he's so dumb that it was like talking to a child. The doctor said, my God, how did you do? No one's ever done that before. I thought... Did
he have tears in his eyes?
No, he didn't. He said, but
is he a tough guy? Tough guy who never even cried as a baby.
It's scary when you think. I said it would make more sense if I woke up and this was all a dream, the Trump thing. You go, oh, okay, that was meant. Yeah, there was no way.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it? It's very conflicting.
Sexual assault, fraud, convicted felon.
Hey, Bodge Monster still has a career as a bullshit columnist.
Who's that? Oh, Boris, he's coming back, yeah. Well, all right, on a happy note. Let's end on a happier note. So anybody do anything nice? You're not going to Notting Hill Carnival today?
I'm going to try and avoid it.
Okay. No, I'm literally going to try and avoid it.
Yeah.
In fact, can I stay here for a bit until it dies down?
I've got stuff to do. And
I'll leave you guys here then till later.
Are you, what did you say? Oh, you can't say. What are you doing today? Anything exciting?
No, taking it easy, to be honest. Having a lazy day.
Krem's got some nice new equipment here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for the setup today.
My pleasure.
Right, so there you go. So we're back with another interview next week.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Take it easy.
Lovers whispers in the midnight air. Promises we made.